All right, we have prepared reference items. So what we are going to do now, we create actually, in the user environment, you can open event request, you can open particular event request, and you can see on the left side, information, general and detail describe the event. On the right side, we would like to have a table with items that are required, that are necessary within this event. For example, catering, tickets for motor cars, tickets for paintball, and so on. And each item will have its own status if it is prepared or not. Yeah. So we are going to create a table now. We are going to specify the table, what is in the table, and we are going to create a new reference that will be status and assign the reference to particular object line. All right, it's all described here. Create a new subgrid template and so on. So let's do it. In administration, you can create a table, or we call it subgrid because it's like dynamical table from subgrid in section objects. So click inside, click add, and it's pretty the same like new object here. So let's call it item or required items, like that. Save it. We can allow deletion and searching and paging within that subgrid. So like that. Now I'm going to create a new template. Add a new template as usual default. Save and close. Let's create a structure describing that subgrid, yeah? So add a new tab, required item. Let's add a new section, item, and here we have already prepared combo box reference for combo box. So let's add a new combo search called item. Let's change reference to items, and you can click show link and set width to 6. Let's add a new combo box search called status. You can leave the reference but set width to 6. And underneath, we add 3 new object lines called price, quantity, and total. All of them will be number. So let's add price, width set to 4, and don't forget to set a separator to space. Here we go. Another number here. Call it quantity. Set separator as space and width to 4. And finally, the last one will be total. Separator space width 4. Here we go. And now what we are going to do is create a new reference for status. So let's go to administration and into reference. We have 2 already created, clients and items. We are now going to add a new one called item status. Item status. Click on save, and it will be kind of differently now because we are going to create the reference manually. So let's go into values and click add. As a value, write 1, and as a value name, write prepared, like that. Save and close, and add a new one. It will be number 2, and as a value name, set write not prepared, like that. So we have just 2 options, prepared or not prepared. All right, let's go to train and into our subgrid, into particular subgrid, where we define everything and change the reference for status. Yeah. So status, change reference to it was item status, right? So that's it. We are going to add a validation for these lines. What should be validated as a mandatory is definitely item. So set item as mandatory. Status has to be mandatory as well. So mandatory. We add default value to the particular status, the number 2, which is not prepared. So whenever you create some item in that, create an item, it will be prepared value, like not prepared. Yeah? Then price, let's create a template line, and let's price always disabled, because we don't want to fill that. We would like to load that from item object. So set it at always disabled in object template line. Quantity should be definitely mandatory. So create template line and set it as mandatory. And total, we prepared total for 3rd day, so now we can leave it like empty. And that's it. We prepared a subgrid, and we need to add that subgrid into our object. So in administration, in object, in item, not in item, sorry, in event request, in lines, you just need to add a new tab, new section, and then drag and drop subgrid from tools. So add a new tab called required items. Add a new section, just items, for example. And from tools, you need to choose subgrid. Drag and drop the subgrid, and when you drop, you can see modal window and call it required subgrid. Required items, sorry. And you can see that as a subgrid, we already choose the one we already created. Here we go, and save it. And here we go, we have new items. Now, when we go to user environment, when we create a new event, you can see something that is subgrid. The subgrid is usually empty. You can set it as pre-prepared, but it's empty now. You can add a line by plus. And you can see that we have catering, paintball, multi-card, and so on. We have already filled like status not prepared by default value, but you can choose different one like prepared, not prepared. And we have quantity, like we can add here something like 10 or something. Yeah. Later, we will do 2 things. We will load the price by selecting here item, and then calculate total value. But now it's alright to have it like this. You can see the line, there is no on-grid on that line. So that's the last thing we are going to specify for that subgrid. Let's go to administration, train, subgrid, our particular request item subgrid, and each subgrid has on-grid. So here we just want to add information about item and obviously status. Here we go. And we can add price. Dear. Like that. Here we go. Quantity. And total. Okay. Let's take a look here. Let's refresh. In user environment, click on plus in event request. And you can see that when you add something in the required item, like catering, 10, not prepared, and so on, and save it, we have now set the on-grid on subgrid. And that's it.